Well, welcome back to the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. Ian Danter with Paul Nicholson, as we're bringing you the quarter-final stages of night 10 of the Premier League Darts. The AO Arena in Manchester has just borne witness to Nathan Aspinall seeing off Rob Cross with a 100% faultless performance on either, Paul, the outer ring or the bull. And that, even though it's only a 6-leg, maximum encounter, that doesn't happen that often.
No, it doesn't happen very often at all. You see it plenty in best of 5 or best of 7. But in this kind of place, because it's Nathan's home city, so it's his home game, he's done it in front of his fans. That's the kind of game that will live rent-free in his mind forever. And for all the right reasons. And now he can actually think that he's got a great chance of getting a first nightly title, because when you've had a performance like that, your confidence will swell. It really will.
I'm watching him perform on the European tour. Yes, he lost to Bunting at the weekend in Risa, but the sheer effort that he's putting in at the moment. I mean, there's a few moving parts of his action. There's the little jerk of the body as he releases the dart. It's not an orthodox throw at all, but it's so wholehearted, everything he's putting into his darts at the minute. It's fantastic to watch.
Yeah, I think everybody should be inspired by Nathan Aspinall, because technically he's always been walking around with a question mark because of the way he goes onto his tiptoes. People said, well, that won't last. Well, he's knocked that out of the park, because he's been winning majors since 2019 and winning PDC titles since the year before that, making semi-finals of World Championships, which were live on talkSPORT too. The thing is, now we're questioning how well put together his body is, because how much punishment can certain parts of his arm take, because when it comes to the mental side of the game, he can take punches like Steve Collins used to take punches off Chris Eubank, and he would just soak it up and say, right, who's next? And Michael Van Gerwen's next.
Well, that's one hometown hero through to the semi-finals. What about the other? The man who won the night in Manchester last season in the Premier League, on his way to lifting the title in his first go at the Premier League, unbelievably. Luke Littler, the world champion, is up next. However, one of the strangest anomalies in darts is that Gerwyn Price, his opponent, who's about to make his way to the stage, has something of the hex over the nuke, having won the last 6 encounters against the world champion. And as Laura Turner was saying earlier, there can't be many in the game of darts who have a positive head-to-head record against Littler.
Not at all. The thing is, if you've got this kind of record against the world champion and the most talked about player in the world, he is very aware of this record. Let's just get that out there. But this is a very different match. He plays a lot of away games, this Price. He gets booed a lot wherever he goes. Maybe not so much these days, but tonight he will be, because he's not in his backyard tonight. This is not Cardiff. This is not a neutral game in Germany. This is Luke Littler's hood, and Luke Littler has never lost in this building.
No. But I think Price has worked his way through that booing pantomime villain part of his career. And let's face it, he's finding his way to win more often than not. 3 PC titles this season already, and looking good on the Euro Tour. Although he couldn't win in his hometown in Cardiff, what does Luke Littler do in his hometown? Can he follow up last year's win by making it 2 out of 2? Taking selfies with fans at the end of the walkway, but he's looking nice and focused, nice and serious as he makes his way to the stage, Luke Littler.
Yeah, we mentioned that Gerwyn Price is very aware of the record. Littler is more aware of it. Now tonight, this will mean an awful lot to Littler coming back home. Whatever happens tonight, he'll be home within about an hour, whenever things are over. That's with media duties, but in the audience tonight, Manchester United and England legend Wayne Rooney watching Littler do his thing in this Manchester arena. He will want to put on a show tonight and to get rid of the hex that is the Iceman. He's lost his last 6 meetings and has lost in the Premier League a couple of times this year.
Taking the acclaim, does Littler as he shakes hands with Price. Going to sort out his darts and then a few practice throws and we'll be underway. The thing to say about Gerwyn Price this week in Leicester, in winning that 3rd PDC title of the year, is just how consistent he was. Ton plus average for the whole day. He got to the final and played against Josh Rock, the young upstart from Northern Ireland, who pushed him all the way. Took him to a last leg decider. I think Rock averaged something like 110 in losing to Gezi.
110.7. And in that final, he almost hit his second 9-darter of the day, did Josh Rock.
Yeah, he hit one off camera, didn't he?
Indeed he did. 5 of his 7 performances earlier this week to win Players' Championship 12. Price averaged over 100, and on one occasion against his World Cup teammate, Johnny Clayton, he averaged 112.25. He's in brilliant nick, but this is a really good test right now for Price. He's thrown to the Manchester Wolves tonight, or should we call them the Warrington Wolves, because that is the rugby league team of the Nuke, who now looks to keep his undefeated record at Manchester intact.
Yeah, he won the night here last year, Luke Littler, en route to the title. No player has ever won 5 Premier League nights in one season since the format was adjusted. That's what Luke Littler can do tonight if he goes all the way here at the AO Arena. He has the darts. Quarter-final 3 underway. Treblers visit, whilst Price nearly gets a maximum to get things going.
You ask any sports person, if they have a chance to set a record, they want to do it in front of their home fans. Alan Shearer wanted to get the record for Newcastle United at St James's Park. Wayne Rooney or anybody at Manchester United would prefer to do it at Old Trafford. If there's going to be a record tonight of your 5th nightly win, Littler wants to do it now. So
Littler with the darts at the start of this quarter, and a 140 from him. Kurt Bevins, the calculator, our referee on the stage, the countdown king. Gerwyn Price trying to get down to a finish from 264.
We shouldn't judge a game by the first couple of legs, because the first couple of legs of Aspinall Cross, it wasn't sparkling, but then it just really came to life, especially for the Asp. 206 for Price, trebleless, and 59 leaves him on 147 with Littler on 128 here.
Treble 20, believe Bull. Bullseye for Littler, and he's well outside, hit single 6 outside the 25, so a squeak of a chance for Price here, but 147 won't go.
We have a Motown alert on the stage because Littler on 44 is about to go 4 tops.
He's hit the fall right in the centre of the bed, hits tops right in the centre of the bed. Casual as you like, 1-0 Luke Littler.
Yeah, casual as you like. It's been a really good campaign for Luke. It wasn't to be in Berlin last week, lost in the quarterfinals. He wasn't happy about that at all. Didn't go to Risa after that, so has had a little bit of a break between that and Players' Championship events earlier this week, but it wasn't a great week in that regard for Luke. Didn't win a title, in fact only made the last 16 of one of those events, so he will feel quite fresh, even though the big narrative of the week dance has been people getting tired and people managing schedules.
But Littler managing his schedule the best he can, but lost to Dylan Slevin, the young Irish player, on the Monday, and then Richie Edhouse was the player that beat him in a last leg decider.
That was a ding-dong game as well.
It was.
Between the European and the world champion. Price 250 here, Littler on 201, better position. Now Price is coming up dry, a little bit too much for his liking, but last start there in the treble 18 for 93, gets him on 157, a guaranteed look at a finish.
Littler picks off a treble 18 to prevent a treblers visit for himself. Price 157, another treble 20 would leave tops, but hit single. He's left himself on top on double 10 anyway, which is Luke Littler's favourite. 108 could go. 17 for double top. Goodness me. He's on his way with a break of throw. 2-zip Littler.
It's not quite Aspinall standards. He has missed the bullseye so far tonight, Littler. But he did hit a 10 to lead tops. So now he's at tops 2 times out of 2 attempts. And that's a beautiful finish, that 108, because if you like tops and 10s as much as he does, find a way to leave it. And on 108, it's 4 17s and tops, and that's exactly what he did. He's starting to cook now. That's back-to-back 140s to start leg 3.
When he's on 120 from 2 darts, you can see the extra violence he gives the 3rd dart to try and jam it in between the 2 that are already in the bed. Hasn't happened for him yet in this quarter-final, but he's 2-0 up, having just broken the Price throw, and he's down to a 2-dart kill of 81 after 9 darts. Price way back on 383.
In a different postcode, you can see that Price is in Cardiff and Littler is on 81 after 9 in Manchester. Single 17, of course. Treble 8, double top, just like that. He goes his own way and he plays this game the way he sees fit. And a 3-0 lead against his bogey player, apparently.
Well, hang on.
He's just started with a 180, and he's not going to go to the crowd, surely, tonight, but that was a somewhat muted celebration dance.
Yeah, I think he just held it in. I think he realised where he was. Just as he turned, he realised, oh, wait a minute. Mind you, there's a big sign saying Manchester just underneath the board he's throwing at. So it's not like he can't remember. He's got a constant reminder every time he steps up to the hockey.
Well, there are days when you wake up on the PDC tour and it does take you about 5 minutes to realise where you are. Am I in Reset today? Am I in Berlin? Am I in Manchester?
I can appreciate that. I'm alive and well, where am I?
Exactly. So when they put the name of the place under the board, that's on purpose, just to remind you that you're in the northwest of England.
There's enough touring musicians I can think of who've said the wrong city's name when they've been talking to the audience. Littler looking for 19s, makes do with 6. He's on the big fish. Price, though, he's on a bullseye. Oh, now he's played the percentage shot, thinking that the big fish won't go. He's right. And even Littler can see the funny side of Gerwyn Price playing the percentages.
I'll tell you what, Price doing that with a bullseye in 1 dart. It's worked this time. You can hear what he's done on the stage. He takes the 4th leg. He's enjoying being the heel tonight, but I can tell you this. Hitting a 10 on 50 with Littler on 170 is like splitting 6s at the blackjack table. It's a huge risk.
Go back to Sid Waddell in 1983. Bristow played the percentages, Della did the business. And that 138 was an outshot heard around the world when Bristow didn't think his opponent could win the World Championship on a ton plus checkout. He did, but on that occasion, Gerwyn Price got the job done, yelped at the crowd, got the boos. A bit like John Cena's getting in the WWE now. Now he's a heel.
Yeah, just a little bit. I wonder how he's going to get on against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Well, Gerwyn Price wouldn't be out of place in a wrestling ring. He's got the build for it, and he's got the heel persona as well, but he doesn't mind giving it to the crowd in Manchester tonight. They're here to be entertained after all. He gets it. He hasn't loved the Premier League on the whole over the last few years, but I think he gets it more now than ever.
But it's 3-1 Littler, and Littler's down on a 164 outshot here. First element's done. Treble 18 hit bullseye. Just pauses for a moment. And he's laying up, but then he can because Price is back on 207.
Which means the way he's been hitting tops tonight, Littler's about to go 4-1 up. It doesn't matter what Price does. 99 leaves 108, which was hit earlier by Littler. On tops, which he has right now. Tops has missed low, but plan B, double 10, did let him down in Berlin. He didn't hit it at all, and he hasn't hit it twice. Both going right to the target there. And Price is doing the same on 108, looking for the 17s. Only gets 2 instead of 4.
Littler's averaging 106, just a shade under 107. Remember, he's got, what, 7 of the top 10 match averages across the Premier League this season. Double 10, 4-1, he leads. Pinning double 10, he's 2 away from the semi-finals.
You know what they say? The saying is, I'm the boogeyman and I'm going to get you. Well, tonight, the way Littler's playing, he's saying to Price, you are my boogeyman, but you're not going to get me now.
Well, he's not thrown a 180 yet, Littler. He's got the most in the Premier League so far, 106, which is more than the next two players in the list combined, which is Humphries and Van Gerwen.
That quarter-final defeat in Berlin has actually stunted his ability to maybe get close to 200, because a lot of people thought he was going to do that at the end of the season. He might still, but he's going to have to get a lot of nightly wins if he wants to get to that total.
Yeah, we are in night 10 of 17 weekly jamborees before the playoffs at the O2 in London that will bring you at the end of May on the talkSPORT network. Looking forward to being back at the O2 for finals night.
We haven't been back to the finals on talkSPORT since
2019, was it?
2018. Michael Smith Van Gerwen final.
Yes, that's right.
It's not going to be a 148 finish for Littler. Price, however, on double 19 here, will choose 14 double 12. There's your 14 double 12. He's the best in the world at this double. First attempt is low, though. I've given him a bit of a curse, and he might rue that miss at double 6 as well. 45 for Littler and a 5-1 lead.
5 for tops. There it is. Another efficient 2-dart kill for the Nuke, and he's one away from the semi-final.
Looking so comfortable. And I think Price knows that the writing is very, very close to being on the wall. It's as if Banksy's just shown up with a spray can. He says, what do you want me to write, Luke?
But a chance here for Price to fill her up, and does. Against the darts at the start of leg 7. 5-1 down. No margin for error now for the Iceman.
It is starting to get warmer outside, and the Iceman isn't melting yet. He's 5-1 down, but he's on a 9-darter. Now, earlier on, Rob Cross could not take 144 for a 9. Can Price do it on away turf?
In he goes then, 1-4, 1 left, going for the 19s, gets it. Treble 20 hit, double 12. Yes! Well, they're cheering him now, as well they might. Perfection from Price. He's only got it back to 5-2, but you wouldn't know you were in Manchester and you were playing Luke Littler from these scenes in front of us.
Littler hits one in Cardiff, and then Price hits one in Manchester. They've done it on their opposing player's turf. And now Price will get his hands on a valuable golden dart, courtesy of the tournament sponsor. Littler's got one, Humphries has got one, Cross has got one. The way they're going, they're all going to get one. 9-darter, number 4 of this year's Premier League, and that keeps Price in the game.
Can't stop smirking. Who can blame him? But back to the matter in hand. It's still 5-2 to Luke Littler. Price on throw. He's back in the red bit again. Oh, hits treble 7 coming downstairs. But 3-0-2 to Littler's 3-6-1.
Price tends to hit 9-darters in clusters. He had 2 in Belfast a couple of seasons ago when he was white hot form-wise. And he has been in sensational form this season. A great moment for him.
Where was that where MVG hit 17 perfect darts and missed the 18? Minehead, yeah.
It was against Rob Cross. He had a couple of 170s in that game as well.
Yeah.
Just like we saw from Josh Rock at the weekend in Risa. He had 2 in the same game.
170 for Littler for the match. 2 treble 20s hit. Bullseye for the match. Oh, he's way off. Way off. Hit single 14 there.
This is really interesting now because Littler's missed the bull and hit a small 14 till he's 36. If Price doesn't take 64, I'm curious as to what will happen. Price has got treble 8 though. For 5-3 down to stay in the match. He needs tops with the last dart. And he gets it. This game is still on. So entertaining. We've seen a 170 missed to win this contest, and Littler's got a little bit of pressure on him now.
What were you suggesting then? If he'd been left on 36, he'd have laid up for 16 for 210s?
16 for double 10 is something he's employed in his game for the last 2 or 3 years. and he doesn't really like double 18. I'll be fascinated to see over the course of the night if he does leave 36 whether he would do that.
We saw him to 10 double 10 when he was on 30 at the World Championships on his way to winning the thing, didn't we?
You do say that he's got cheat codes. It's actually not cheat codes, it's just his own way of doing things. Price is scoring like a demon here. 1-2-5 for him, leaves 2-7-6. Littler has the darts here, but is only 6 points behind, not for long.
Oh, he's looking to fill her up now, Littler. And there's a 180 at last for the nuke. Could it be in the final leg of the match? Price trying to find a treble, going around the board. Oh, he finds a treble, but it's treble 7 for the match then, Nico.
Single 20, goes to the 14s and only gets a single. Single 16 off the back of those two darts, leaves himself on 52, so it will be 12 for tops when he comes back, and Price is going to be on double 18, is he? That may be a parting shot from Price on a night where he's been perfect.
12 for tops for Luke Littler. Double top is pinned. Standing issue from Luke Littler, and after 6 successive defeats, he's finally got one over on the Iceman, even though Gerwyn Price hit a 9-darter. Lovely embrace between the two, and Littler suggested it's about time as he tapped his watch before shaking hands with his opponent. Well played, Luke Littler, and well played Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, what a game. Great standard. Almost 104 average for Littler in front of his home audience. He's now 4 out of 4 on the stage, and he will take on either Luke Humphries or Stephen Bunting, who has had a brilliant week, winning in Berlin, winning in Riesa on the European Tour for the first time in his career. And I suppose everybody's going to be looking at Luke Humphries in this game to see what kind of form he brings after a really indifferent week where he did lose to Bunting in the semis at Riesa.
Dead right, Paul. We'll see how it goes. Laura's going to join me for that quarter-final that comes next here on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. 3 of the semi-finalists sorted then, and the 2 hometown heroes are through. Aspinall and now Littler are into the last 4. Bunting Humphries is up next. And when it comes to the Darts Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. Now, amongst the fastest VPNs available on the market, NordVPN gives you a quick location change when you need it most. Just go to nordvpn.com/dartsvpn and you'll get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal as well. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Bunty against Coolhan up next here.